Okay, so a little explanation here. This doesn't look great, but this is what I came up with for this repair back here. And it's on the bottom of the stock. You're not really going to see it, I don't think. And again, once I get it actually finished, I kind of think this might be more noticeable because it's an obviously round thing. So I may end up putting inletting a 2-screw sling swivel right about here, like this. I'd be more happy with it closer to the butt end than where this hole was. I still have no idea what the hell this was, and you can see it was off center. Anyway, so here's what I'm doing now. I've got the action in there, and this plate here was never inlet. You see there's the inlet for the trigger guard. But this piece was just on the surface, just flush. And I've got it lined up. The magazines insert easily, and what I did was I used this as a reference, this inlet. And I just used some cardstock, which is close enough, you know, it's fairly straight stuff. You know, how many curvy pieces of paper do you have around? Okay, and I just lined it up like that, and I did the same thing on this side. I've got it fairly centered. I don't know if you can see it or not. I got the same distance. And what I'm going to do is, this hole, I'm going to use a transfer punch, and that's basically a center punch, but it's a rounder. It's almost like a regular pin punch. In other words, it's like, let's see, this is just a piece of drill rod I got laying around, but I don't know whether you can see the tip or not. The tip is just basically flat. I mean, this isn't a punch, so this isn't really a good example, but picture this being the exact size of the hole here, okay? And right in the center of the tip of the transfer punch, there's a little pointed, you know, raised spot in the exact center of it. So what you do is you would line it up like that, directly in the center of the hole, and give it a little shot, because this thing was, it was super off center when I got this thing, which isn't surprising because this thing was knocked all to hell. But it was never inlet either, so I filled the existing screw hole, which was off center, and you can see some of the pitting on the metal there. Still, it's not that bad. Looks worse with the camera. I filled that hole. You can see the hole is off center there. You can see it in the very bottom. That's filled with epoxy and everything. So what I'll do is I will center punch this. Transfer punch, center punch. Drill a tiny little hole. I'll probably do it by hand because the screws we're using here are, you know, pretty tiny. Just a little wood screw. And I'll lock this thing down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a lead pencil and I'm going to sharpen it so that it's got a flat spot on one side of the point, and I'm going to draw all the way around this. And then I'm just going to, you know, chisel it out. I'll mark it all the way around with a chisel, and I'll chisel out just a little bit at a time, and then I'll oops, I don't have to fall on the metal there. For all the work I did on this stock. And what I'll do is I don't know, I'll coat the back of this plate with something that'll transfer, and I'll sink it down in there. You know, I'll take the action off of the wood. I'll take all this out of here. I took the bolt out, obviously, but I'll take the action off of the wood, and once I get it drawn in, and then I'll just inlet it with just this piece. It's not really super, you know, mission critical that this be exact, because one, there's some wiggle room for the magazines, okay, and two, the hole for the action screw isn't exact, you know, it's got a lot of wiggle room to it. So, but I think it'll look better if it's, you know, down in there. It's it looks kind of stupid being proud of the wood like that. So I'm gonna sink that down in there so that it's it looks like a finished piece. I don't know, this might have been a replacement stock or something. I'm not really sure. I don't know what the history of this firearm was, but anyway, you can see. Let's see, where was that rust spot? It's up here somewhere. It's not there now. Okay, and then once this is inlet and where I want it to be, I'll put the butt plate on. I'll make sure that I didn't remove any material around here. I'll give it a real light sanding and buff it up with steel wool with that on, and then we'll be on to finishing the stock. And then once we're done finishing the stock, I'll recut this crap and then seal that, and we'll be all done. All right, but that's where we're at now. That's the next step. Everything else is pretty much done. You can see the wood is beautiful, and it's just shiny because it's been burnished with steel wool. It's actually no finish on that wood whatsoever. All right, and see, look, if you weren't looking for it, would you know that was repaired? That's what we like. This, yeah, maybe not so much. What are you gonna do? I'm no genius. Alright, so that's where we're at right now. That's what I'm up to. And what the dog is up to is he's hiding his head under the covers. He doesn't want to be bothered right now. So I got him keeping me company. Got this one over here. I had the white one, but she just took over his crate. She's chilling out. The other one has been shitting all over my bathroom, so she's in her little cage over there, and that end of my little hell. The third time this week I've mopped my bathroom floor. Isn't that nice? Alright, so when I'm done, I think this thing's going to look good. I'm pretty happy with it. This is the boxes. This is all what's left to go back in this thing. I'm going to have to touch this up. This is aluminum, I think. Doesn't feel heavy enough to be steel. And I think I'm just going to maybe buff it up a little bit with a little bit of steel wool, and I just touch it up with a super black pen or something like that. Something you would use to touch up a a punch screw up on an AR receiver or something, just to get that shininess off of there. It'll look better if it doesn't look like it's been beat up. It's kind of really beat up though. It's surprising. Alright, well that's it. I'll show you what I had to buy for this thing. Only two parts, well, aside from magazines, that right there is the sight elevator. It just sits underneath it, and that's the part you aim with. But once this is all together, this will you'll be able to snap this up or fold it down. And then I bought a new oh no, that's the old one. See, this, I can't do anything with this. It's too thin. It's all at the edges, rotted off. But they make a reproduction. So I got that, and front sight. I'll probably do some touching up, like I'm doing on the other thing. This I believe is brass. Yeah, it's definitely brass. It's dovetailed in there. See, that's how you would drift it back and forth once you get it on the barrel to sight in. And I'm going to polish up the tip. The tip is, there you go. You see that nice shiny spot? That's just raw brass. I'll shine that up a little bit. I'll get like a diamond file or something and shine that up really, really bright, so that so it's easy to see. That's it. That's what we got going on here today. Some sight screws in there. That goes on the front. This thing goes into this dovetail on the barrel. Butt plate just has a little spacer in it. Had one little nick in it. You can't really see it now because I filled it. It's a little bit of epoxy with some black, and it was right there where the, well, you can't really see it. You can't see it at all. I'm going to leave this kind of screwed up. I'll just clean it off real well. I'll get a brush and brush that all out really well. I might have to get some solvent there. I'm not sure what the hell is on this thing. Anyway, that'll get all cleaned up too. I'm going to keep it. I can get a reproduction one. Probably even get an original one, but this is the one that came with it. I'm not spending any more money on this gun. As I said, this will go back on here, and I'll resand just so that none of this is sticking up. You want it all to be even, and then I can polish the edge really easily. I can just probably wipe it down with some, well, I can polish it up with something for sure. I could also probably just wipe across it with a paper towel with some carburetor cleaner on it or something. Just melt the edge of the plastic, just the surface of it, and I'll make it nice and shiny. Alright, here I go, long-winded again. Bye.